Hello, I'm Odin, and welcome to DIY Prop Shop, where we teach you how to build props from your favorite video games and movies without breaking the bank. Today, I want to make a paper airplane. Paper airplane's been around for a very long time, and there's a classic design that I think a lot of us already know, and I'll probably go over that one. But what's interesting to me is that paper airplanes may actually be older than human flight. Origami has been around for a really long time, but with a quick online search, I wasn't able to confirm that there is a folded design intended for flight that predates human flight. However, in the 1860s, there was a how-to book showing how to make a paper dart or a paper arrow, which was of course folded paper with the intention of flight. Jump ahead about 40, 50 years, and we get into the 1900s and the 1910s, and we have evidence of paper airplanes that were found in the rafters of a school in England, and these were very well crafted. Some of them were actually glued together with additional pieces for the fuselage, as well as pen nibs on the tips of the plane in order to give it better balance for flight. And specifically, the folded plane that was found is very, very close to what I knew growing up for making a classic paper airplane. This doesn't look anything like a contemporary airplane of the time. In fact, a delta wing airplane didn't come about until the 1940s, 1950s with jet aircraft. So I'm glad that human flight finally caught up to the quality of the paper airplane. One of the nice things with paper airplanes is the raw material you need is just a piece of paper. This can be Rima paper, which is only about $5, which means a single plane is going to run you maybe a penny to make. But you could also use scrap paper if you got any lying around. I used to use the paper menus off the dinner table all the time, at a restaurant. The classic airplane that I remember is folding the sheet in half, and then it's the double triangle fold in order to get the pointed nose of the craft. So you'll put it back up, fold the two halves in, which mine is not as equal as I want it to be. And then my habit was to do it a second time. This closely resembles the 1910 airplane that we know of. Once you have that, you need your wings. I like to give my planes more wings than fuselage. One of my friends growing up, he really favored having the dart style plane, the ones that were, instead of I'm just folding it in twice, he would fold it in 3 times or even 4 times because he liked the really fast and the way it goes flight. I liked hang time, so I preferred a plane that had more wings that could fly a little bit longer before it actually landed. So that's the classic airplane that I grew up knowing how to make, and I've made variations on. You can put a tail on it, you can flip up the edge of the wings, you can even fold the nose back and be able to give yourself a blunt nose, a little more weight in the front. But the one I really wanted to share is one that I learned how to make in the 1980s. This was one that is almost all wing and gave me a lot more hang time, a lot more flight time whenever I was successfully making these. And again, we're going to start with a single piece of paper, but instead of folding it completely in half, we're going to take the top edge and fold it so it's square with the far side, making a long triangle. Crease that out, open it back up, and do it again on the other side. This is also very close to the beginning of making your classic cootie catcher from school, for those of you who may remember those. So now I've got this X design. What I want to do now is bring the sides in and fold it down flat. And what's funny is I've always done it this way for years, where you bring the sides in and push it down flat and get this seam made. This wasn't easy to do when I was younger, but as I was recently thinking about it, yeah, in order to get that fold, I could always just, here's the line, I could fold it in half this way too. Just match up your corners, you're gonna get the same seam. So anyway, I bring it all together. Now, I'm gonna do the same double triangle fold that we did with the classic plane, but I'm doing it on what's going to be the bottom of this plane. I'm gonna fold this up, matching back up to the tip on both sides. And then I'm going to do it again, folding it in, and then folding it in again on the other side. With the nose, I like to fold it back flat along the edge. So having folded this in twice, I've got this hard line here of these two triangles. So I'm going to hold those flat and fold the nose back until I get a crease across the front. But I don't really want to stop there. Inside the nose on the sides, there's a little pocket that got made because of the way the folds are. So if you tuck your shirt collars in and then tuck the triangles into that corner, which is a little bit of finagling to get that to go in. Come here. Things are so much harder to do on camera. There we go. Gonna open that up big enough and get it to go in there. Fold it over, get it to go in there. And now if you mash it all down, it'll actually keep itself together and you don't have like moth legs sticking out the front of your paper airplane. Now I've basically got a big wing. What I like to do, and this is weird, I like the way this looks. It's weird to me that I have these upright stabilizers that aren't in line with flight. I'll take this edge and fold it to make a 90-degree angle with the nose of the plane. And then fold them back out again. So I'm going to take this 90-degree angle edge and I'm going to fold it back to the fold I had just made, making kind of a Z fold, but it comes down to a point in the front. Not perfect, but good enough. That's one of the nice things. Then I will adjust. So this Z fold becomes, you know, kind of 90-degree angle to the wing and to the sides. And that's basically it. To hold it, you've got the kite shape on the bottom, which has also got a bit of a weight. It takes a little bit of practice to be able to get a hold of that. My fingers have gotten bigger as I've gotten older. But that's it. One of the things that I've also done is you can bend up the back a little bit to give it some lift, a little bit of an airfoil, but just that usually gave me really good slow glide time, which is what I wanted when I was making my small airplanes growing up. These style of planes, this is totally something I used to do when I was in grade school, waiting for mom to pick me up after school. You know, did this to kill time. I remember doing this in high school, waiting for mom to come out and pick me up after school. And I even remember doing this after hours when the comic shop closed and I just wasn't quite ready to go home yet. I'd make paper airplanes and fly them in the shop because what else am I gonna do? I've enjoyed paper airplanes for a very long time. I want to thank you very much for watching today's episode. It is totally an homage or a throwback, if you will, to DIY Prop Shop, which started 10 years ago. My first episode of DIY Prop Shop was in 2015, so now it's 2025, and happy April Fools, where I am celebrating and reliving where my prop building started. I don't have the authority to be able to post all the old episodes of DIY Prop Shop. Those are still posted somewhere else here on the internet. I will put a link so you can go see those if you want. Those videos are still around, but this was a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed as much as I did getting to do another quick little DIY prop shop here on April 1st.